You gotta love football. You gotta love it. What a week of action, boy. Sports fans, sports lovers, welcome back to another episode of Global Sports from a Caribbean Perspective. As usual, I am your host, Prime, joined by,
Shabba. Dubs.
and we are here to bring you the best in global sports from a Caribbean perspective. Remember, right here at GSCP, we got the best games, the best teams, the best players, the best sports, and the best takes on everything, all from a Caribbean perspective. Let's get right into it, shall we? Man, you got to love the beautiful game. I'm gonna keep saying it for a good while in this episode, I think. Before we get to football, we gotta talk some cricket a little bit later on. Got some hits coming up from the NBA as well. Lots of trade rumors and lots of stuff going on right now. But today, this day in history, January 29th, we want to take you back to 2018. So not so long ago, when the legend of the game, David Beckham, made a bold move, decided to invest in Major League Soccer in the United States of America, and he launched his own franchise, a franchise that right now, the shorts are flying off of the shelves. You see them popping up all over. We're talking about none other than Inter Miami in Florida, and we know the story with Inter Miami right now. Signing, it has to be said, more or less over the hill, achieved and done the best in Europe type of players, but doing well for themselves. I mean, Lionel Messi still relevant in football, of course, as he will always be. But we know Inter Miami has achieved a lot and gained a lot of relevance in football in a short space of time. We also want to talk about a little tennis. Just the other day, 2023, Australian Open. I know that will be smiling. Novak Djokovic beat Stefanos 6-3, 7-6, 7-6 for his 10th Australian Open record, equaling his 22nd overall Grand Slam title. Joko.
Good for you, Shab.
That's a great discussion that we could have right now. It probably would take up a lot of time. So let me keep it short. I would say based on his titles, yes. But based on Federer's elegance, I would always say that Federer is my GOAT. But Nadal has this enduring, never give up, never lose type attitude that could also give him the case to be the GOAT. So I guess it's just your preference. For me, it's Federer.
They all had, their periods of dominance, I think. Federer with the elegance that you mentioned, with for what he represented for the game of tennis for a long time. Even, somebody that was always relevant, always competed at a very high level, very, very high standard he always held himself to. Then you have Nadal with his dominance and clay and still his, well, you have to say attacking mindset, even on the other surfaces, always looking to get at his opponent, whether in the serve, whether in the winning of the points quickly and moving on, a rapid, intense player, quite passionate player as well. But then you have Djokovic just to be in this conversation, because for a long time it was Federer Nadal. For Djokovic to be in this conversation alone is a testament to how much he has achieved. So rightfully so in this conversation for tennis player.
Yeah, last thing on it, Djokovic has the longevity because he played against Nadal and Federer in their primes when he was a youngster coming through along with Andy Murray. So you said that even being in the discussion is a credit to him, but his longevity and titles is what has him in the discussion, I would say, more than anything else.
Really, really great stuff. So that was this day in history, January 29th. We are after the Premier League, round 23. So plenty football still left to be played, but 1 and 2 shifting moves at the top for sure. Man City 2, Wolves 0. Semenyo netted his fourth Premier League goal for Manchester City, earning their first league win of 2026 with that 2-0 victory over Wolves. It was a disappointing week, you have to say. Back-to-back losses. They lost the derby to Manchester United. They also lost in the Champions League to Bodo Glimt, but they still have, in the end, managed to close the gap on Arsenal, thanks to the other results, by about 4 points. Am I on course with my prediction that Pep is somehow going to nick it away from Arsenal right at the very end?
Well, the gap is 4 points right now, and we'll get to Arsenal. But City have been showing too many inconsistencies for me to, even though I picked them before the season, for me to give them the edge over a more consistent Arsenal team who are showing some flaws now. But I think that City are even more flawed than that.
Yeah, I agree 100% with Shab. City have already shown us who they are so far for the season. They have showed that they could string a few wins together and then go winless in 4 or 5. And I don't think they could keep up with Arsenal at all. If they continue like that, they really have to go on a miraculous pep run, one of the runs that we've seen them pull off before,
Especially in the late half of the season.
especially in the late half of the season. But they really haven't shown us, that kind of form so far yet for the season. So I really believe that Arsenal would continue along this vein
And win out in the end.
For me, it would take a massive collapse from Arsenal for City to regain the title, because I still think that they are going to drop more points and it would be very difficult for them to go on that Pep-like run that you mentioned. So it would take a serious collapse from Arsenal, but they have dropped points recently, so who knows?
Not to throw a wrench in their thing, but if we are saying that we see City has that track record of putting those runs together, unfortunately, Arsenal also has that track record of later in the season giving up easy points to teams that they should be beating, especially while they are not just teams they should be beating on paper. I'm talking about teams that they should be beating comfortably while they are playing the type of football that they're showing and things like that. So fingers crossed.
We'll see.
And we'll see how it goes. Of course, we'll be here to talk about it. Bournemouth 3, Liverpool 2. Liverpool winless in 5 Premier League matches. So that unbeaten run thing that's over. Dramatic.
Yeah.
Dramatic 3-2 defeat, we have to say. They look to set to draw 5th straight league match with the score at 2-2. Soboslai calling home in the 80th minute. But Adley had other ideas clearly. And just put the game just beyond their reach.
Yeah, a trip to the Vitality is always a tough game against Bournemouth. They play high intensity and have great attacking players. So if you go there and are not on your game, they will get the better of you. And that is what happened with Liverpool on Saturday. They made mistakes. The great Van Dijk was at fault for at least 2 of the goals that Bournemouth scored, including a penalty, right, that was conceded. So they have a lot to work on in the league, at least, because their cup form has been good, as we'll talk about later in Champions League. But yeah, that's now the longest winless run in the league for Liverpool since 2021. So, and also they have conceded the most set pieces in the league this season, with 14. So, and that is excluding penalties. So they have a lot to work on in the Premier League.
Indeed. What we think are Arne Slot's chances of remaining in the job? You think his position is secure, even given the poor
I think
inconsistency in the league?
well, I think it to be fair to him after winning the league in such a manner last season, it's only fair that you give him another chance to see if they can come good. The season is not done yet. You never know what they could do in the other competition, but yeah, I think to be fair to him, they should at least give him another go at it.
Another swing at it. I will see how things shape up for Slot and his men in the later half of the season. Crystal Palace entertaining Chelsea, but not to their tune at all. They went down to 10 men. They managed to score, but in the end, Chelsea put 3 goals past them, simply outclassing them, it has to be said. On Sunday, Estevao, João Pedro, Enzo Fernandez. Estevao, right now, cooking. Gotta be honest.
And not him alone. I'd say Enzo Fernandez is in great form, great goal scoring form, as well as João Pedro. And Chelsea seem to be cooking under their new manager, Liam Rosenior. Getting that pronunciation correct. Finally, Rosenior.
Virginia.
Right? So things are looking on the up for the Blues, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. Palace took the lead early. Chelsea with 3 unanswered goals. Palace undone by the red card. Really, they were putting up a good fight, to be very honest. But the quality of Chelsea was just too much for them to handle.
Looking forward to see how top 4, top 5 in England is going to really fall out.
For sure.
At the end, nobody really showing the kind of consistency that would indicate okay they're gonna pull away from each other. I guess Premier League fans will tell me that's the strength of the league.
And that says a lot considering what we're going to talk about in the Champions League later.
Yeah,
The top of the
definitely.
Premier League is so inconsistent. Yeah. So well.
Speaking of the top of the Premier League, Arsenal at home to Manchester United, big match, has to be said. In the end, Man U winning out 2 goals for Arsenal, 3 great goals, I have to say, from Manchester United. Man, I caught a bit of the game. Wow.
Yeah, boy. I wasn't expecting that, to be very honest. I didn't want to give Carrick too much credit for the victory against Manchester City after, what
Yeah, he fresh.
fresh, and City, haven't been their best self, and Amorim had already, won against them the year before. So it's not anything to get too high on. But it was really something. It was a smash and grab win, to say the least. Arsenal dominant with possession. Manchester United with, you could say, very efficient on the counter attacking. The Cunha goal was some wizardry, really and truly, to bend it around. Gabriel, I think it was, and
So
still.
what you say about the dog?
But this is what I had to say now. This is what it takes to defeat Arsenal when you really check it out.
All these
Screamers.
I mean,
And
they're
mistakes.
They're really solid. So you really have to catch them
on a bad day.
when they are disorganized. When they
I think there was a bit of that on Sunday because considering City had one, Villa had one, you'd have to say they were seemingly a little bit nervous going into the game, a little shaky.
Yeah, well,
It was a bad pass in the back that really led to the goal from Mbeumo.
Yeah, it's set
By
the
the way-
tone. But it was just weird to see them go behind so quickly after scoring and that kind of thing. So it's something to keep an eye on. It was a home loss. That was Manchester's first win at the Emirates since 2017, I believe. So what is a fortress has been breached by Michael Carrick and the Red Devils.
Oh, definitely breach. Statsman hit me.
Yeah, they conceded 3 goals for the first time in a match since December of 2023, and we're currently in January 2026. And then a run of 121 matches in all competitions without conceding more than 2. Right? And I just want to speak more on Arsenal because you spoke mostly on United.
That's crazy.
And then there are some things that I have to say because I would have favoured Arsenal a lot throughout the season, but I'm starting to see some cracks. Maybe due to the fact that the trailing pack in the Premier League might not be consistent enough to keep up with them. They might still get over the line in the Premier League. But I'm seeing some cracks, and there's some things that I don't like. Number one is the over-reliance on set pieces. Like, the ball would go out for a corner and you'd hear the Emirates crowd cheering, like if it's a penalty, they just want or something. And that's, to me, that mentality is bad. Like, you would get you wouldn't always score a set piece goal. And if you look at the goals that they also scored, we said that United capitalized on mistakes and scored all these. But the goals that Arsenal scored were very scrappy, very mucky,
Including-
nothing special, and it continues a trend of them not playing well from open play. And if that continues, that's gonna get figured out because teams are gonna learn how to block Gabriel's run and that kind of thing, and they would score less from set pieces. But just the over reliance on set pieces and some of the tactics of crowding out the keeper and all them kind of tactics, while it might not be illegal or against the rules, for me, those things are against the spirit of the game, in my opinion. Because the keeper is so easily punished. Not punished, like awarded for any little touch on the keeper. But they are allowed to swarm the keeper with 5-6 man, like playing pick and roll.
Summer slam.
Playing click and roll like this is basketball. And that is their main tactic to score after so long in charge for Mikel Arteta and his
I'd
team.
have to
It's just something it rubs me the wrong way.
I have to say something. That tactic, it just looks familiar to what we would see, you know, lower table opposition in La Liga.
Apart from mine, that's a Stoke City.
You know, lower league opposition or even non-league. That looks like a non-league tactic from the FA Cup.
Every corner for Arsenal is like a rugby scrum.
The set
every
pieces
count.
that you score
I
for the
really don't
team.
understand it because I meant to make that point about 3 episodes back.
Mm.
Where I remember the days where you touch the keeper like this and it's a foul,
Yeah,
bro.
Correct.
Foul.
Emi Martinez and
Freaking.
the rest of them fighting for their lives in the box.
The man can't breathe.
It's like dog piles. That's the kind of vibe.
And this is the next thing in terms of the playing for the corner, right? You would see teams who know that, okay, we have big men up front or we're dangerous from the set piece. You would see their wingers run to the line, but it's not necessarily to get the corner. The corner is the consolation. The idea is still to drive the ball towards the goal and look for it. But sometimes it seems like
Arsenal are playing for
you're fine to just nick it off the defender and get the corner and swing it in. Don't get me wrong. If it ain't broke, I guess don't fix it. But like Shabba said, he's seeing some cracks.
Yeah, because it's beginning to get found out and teams are beginning to figure out how to defend them better.
Correct.
When you don't have that. And to think about the kind of players that they have in open play as well, who are able to play brilliant football, it's a shame on Arteta really, because he is the coach and that seems to be the identity that he wants to, you know, put on his team. So I don't know how long it would last, you know, like if you want to win the Champions League. Like I said, chasing back in the Premier League might be inconsistent enough for them to win the Premier League, but those tactics I don't think would get you.
Yeah, I know some teams that, not to say that we're dragging it along a bit, but I know some teams are trying to counter with leaving a few men
Higher
the
up the
pitch.
field, yeah.
So then the defenders will have, you know, if the corner doesn't come in,
Counter.
then, you know, it's a easy counter. So some teams are brave enough to try it out, while, you know, others are more conservative and trying to.
You know, just an early permutation. If we face them, I would like to be one of the teams that keeps a few, because I know my team isn't good at defending the set pieces. But guess what? Even though we're not good at defending set pieces, it's still not a guarantee that you're going to score.
Yeah, they're not gonna score every time.
So guess what? The minute that ball is down, and I know I got fast fingers on the onside, we are spraying that ball over the top all day long.
Yeah.
And that's another counter tactic. So interesting days ahead. Some of the results in the Premier League include Aston Villa winning out at St. James Park on Sunday, even after that loss to Everton. You know, they still putting pressure on Arsenal, keeping right there in consideration for it. Great performance from Ali Watkins.
Yeah, very impressive win away in hostile surroundings at St. James's Park, as you mentioned. It's the first time that Newcastle lost a home game since September. So,
no easy feat.
Villa went there and were very impressive. Like I said, a great goal from Buendia, who is a great underrated player. Been having a great season for Aston Villa. And yeah, they're only 4 points behind. Only 4 points behind Arsenal.
Stassman says that Villa have netted 13 goals from outside the penalty area. So just a nice contrast to what the discussion
About Arsenal.
we're just having in terms of set piece. That's the most of any side in the Premier League, in the competition and in the top flight since about 2007, 2008.
It's
Remember
crazy.
early in the season when I said more than half of the goals were
From outside the
Outside
area.
box, yeah, Wendy, yeah.
They're gonna break the record. Well, they have 13 and the record is 16.
Yeah, another stat is the last win at St. James's Park in the league was in 2005.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. Wow. I didn't know that.
So that's serious for Unai.
Huge away win.
That's a huge win for Unai Emery's
Yeah,
team.
the most away points in the league at the moment as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Aston Villa are currently 4 points behind Arsenal, keeping the pressure on. Other results: West Ham 3, Sunderland 1, Burnley held Tottenham to a 2-2 draw. Spurs, by the way, are winless in their last 5 Premier League games. And their coming up run is City, Newcastle, Manchester United, and Arsenal.
In that order.
It's not looking good for Tottenham in the Premier League this season.
Yeah, in the Premier League.
Emphasis on in the Premier League, but we'll get to that. Fulham defeating Brighton 2-1. Brentford being defeated by Nottingham Forest 0-0. 1-2.
1-1 in Everton Leeds.
Oh, okay. Right. Brentford being defeated by Nottingham Forest 0-2. And Everton and Leeds shared the points, 1 goal apiece. So to round up the Premier League table right now, Arsenal sitting on the top at 50. Whether you believe that meme of the elephant and the and the branch on that, we'll see. City on 46, Aston Villa on 46, Man United down there just outside the 40s on 38, Chelsea on 37, and Liverpool on 36. So 3 teams pretty close to each other in the top 3. The trailing 3 also pretty close to each other. An exciting top 6 currently in the Premier League. So that's a wrap on England. Let's take things over to La Liga. Not so much action in terms of changes in the positions in round 21. The big 3 in Spain all won, and you have to say won comfortably. Starting with Real Madrid away to the yellow sub Villarreal, who are not
Having a great time.
having a great time currently.
At all.
Any competition, anyway, it's just not going good for the yellow sub right now. If Madrid is scoring, who is scoring?
Not the face.
Yeah, man, if Real Madrid is scoring right now, Kylian Mbappe is scoring up another brace for Madrid. 2 goals, finding the back of the net in the 47th minute, and then securing the win from the penalty spot. Los Blancos moved 2 points above Barcelona, who hosted Real Oviedo on Sunday. And we'll talk about the result there. Villarreal still within an outside chance of
Challenging.
but in the end, losing out. Great performance overall, or Mbappe being Mbappe?
No. Well,
Mbappe being Mbappe, of course. Even in the win, there was some defensive issues, especially in the transitional play. Despite the clean sheet, and we will see how that would affect us later down the road. But yeah, I guess it was a straightforward win. Villarreal have lost their way, really and truly. They had 2 games in hand on Atletico. I think the top 2 on Atletico, who were then in 4th, and somewhere along the line they just didn't seem to know how to balance the Champions League and the domestic competition. So yeah, they have faltered. Yeah, Madrid, Kylian Mbappe brilliance and a penalty. So just a straightforward one.
Straightforward victory.
on Mbappe, that was his 24th league goal in 20 games. I'd say that he's cruising towards the Pichichi,
Cruising is a nice way to be.
which he would like, which he would
Hmm.
absolutely love. And anyway, moving on, right? About the game, it wasn't much to shout about. It was a more comfortable game than I expected going to Villarreal, who are a great team in general, even though they're in some bad form. Even though Dappy mentioned that we had some defensive frailties, we held Villarreal to only 1 shot on target, which is a improvement considering the way things have been going thus far this season. Madrid, this is a niche stat, might be a bit nitpicking, but Madrid are the only team in Europe's top 5 leagues, right? Yet to concede a shot on target in the first half of a match in 2026. So it's a very
competitions or just like league.
yeah, top 5 leagues in all competitions,
That's crazy.
right? So we have yet to concede a shot on target in the first half of a match in 2026.
So that means y'all haven't conceded in the first half.
I'm guessing that's a league stat. That has to be a league stat, right? So we have 17 league goals conceded and 10 clean sheets, which are both the best in La Liga. So a slight improvement. Slight. Yeah, I have to take some positives here. 17 league goals conceded and 10 clean sheets.
No, you gotta get in where you fit in, man. You gotta take it as they come. Like we said, not much shifting at the top of La Liga. Barcelona hosted Real Oviedo on Sunday, 3-0. Obviously, a bicycle kick from Lamine Yamal is going to steal the headlines, but it has to be said that this was a game of two halves, cliche or not. And I'm not sure how I feel. We just had a start about first halves for Madrid. I'm not sure how I feel about Barcelona in first halves this season in general at all. The performances usually look like, we need attacking to from Hansi Flick at halftime to sort things out. We need a sub here and there to get it right. We just are not starting games well on the front foot. Nevertheless, Dani Olmo and Rafinha got the ball rolling in the second half. Hansi Flick's side had been well frustrated, as we see before the break, but we came out brighter, and it took us just 6 minutes to break the deadlock. They tried to play out the back, and that never really works out too well. Olmo drilled his low shot into the bottom left corner. Another lapse basically gifted us the second David Costas high up in the own half. A very lazy man. A real anyhow back pass. No, you can't do that. Rafinha, not wrong person. Maybe Lewandowski, but not Rafinha. He has the legs to keep it. Rafinha pounced on it, and lovely. Speaking of Brahim, you see, right? Mbappe showing how to right. Cool. And Rafinha getting hit me. Yeah, but Yamal stole the show. He had a shot parried out a little bit earlier by the goalkeeper. He sealed the points. Rather acrobatic finish. The cutting in on the left hand side. Cutting in on the left foot, I guess, is a bit predictable. So he's going for something a little bit more unorthodox. Anytime it comes off, we applaud it. Great skill, great goal. Statsman, 10 consecutive win at home for Barca. It's the first time we've recorded 10 or more home wins under the same manager in La Liga since 2019 when we won 14 games. 14 games, sorry. In a row. Under Stupan post boss. Make up yourself on that stuff, Valverde. But his Athletic Bilbao getting hammered in the Champions League. But we'll talk about that. Atletico winning out 3-0 against Mallorca. They ensured that, they kept in the conversation for La Liga. They drowned Mallorca 3-0 at the Metropolitano. Salat opened the scoring in the 22nd minute. Had an own goal from David Lopez, and Thiago Almada hit a screamer and sealed the triumph for Atletico. They are now 7 points behind Real Madrid and chasing the pack in Barcelona, of course. Atletico have now won their last 10 La Liga matches at the Metropolitano. That's their best run in the competitions. 2023 when they won 17. Salat is on fire right now.
Scored in the last 3 games in La Liga, which is the first time since he did it 4 games in a row when he was at Villarreal. He also scored in the week again as well. So Salat is in good form, and Atletico taking up the rightful position.
It has to be said. The La Liga table looks like this. Barcelona are in first at 52 points. Real Madrid just behind on 51. Atleti in third on 44, and Villarreal are in fourth on 41 points. Let's take a trip to Italy. Wanna touch on what's taking place in Serie A. Serie A Inter still at the top of the table. They basically newly promoted Pizza 6-2 at home. 6 different goal scorers: Zelensky, Lautaro, Esposito, Di Marcos, Boni, and Mkhitaryan all on the score sheet. That result keeps Inter on the top of the Serie A, 52 points. AC Milan is now 5 points behind on 47. They dropped points at the Olimpico, drawing 1-1 with Roma. However, that's
They're still unbeaten. 21 league games unbeaten. But I'm not sure they would be proud with that at the moment, considering that they're 5 points behind Milan.
yeah, but longest unbeaten run in the top 5 leagues right now. So
It is something. It is something.
comes with something. Defending champions Napoli, meanwhile, hammered by Juventus boy 3-0 on the road. Goals from Kostic, Yildiz, and Jonathan David. They're moving further and further away from, repeating what they did last year for the Scudetto. 9 points away from the top, all the way down there in fourth. Roma, by the way, who drew with AC Milan, are in third. I don't think we mentioned that. So AC Milan second on 47, Roma in third on 43, and Napoli also on 43. And interestingly, the team that hammered them 3-0, right below them, Juventus, is in fifth on 42. So we spoke earlier in the season about, the closeness between the top 5 in Serie A, about 10 points between first and fifth at the moment, but still a lot going on, and these teams are beating each other as well. So it's still going to be an exciting finish in Italy for sure. Where it's not going to be so much of an exciting finish if you're not a fan of Bayern Munich is in the Bundesliga. Bayern still unbeaten in the Bundesliga.
No, their
this season.
unbeaten run went to. They actually lost this weekend.
To
Okay.
Augsburg.
Take it back, editor man.
Yeah, the unbeaten run.
We'll take it over to the Bundesliga, where unless you're a fan of Bayern Munich, it's not looking great. However, Bayern Munich's unbeaten run in the Bundesliga this season has come to an end. They lost 2-1 to Augsburg. The low power performance from company and his team.
Yeah, I guess it's just one of those days, and I guess it took the eye off the ball. And Augsburg, as you would expect, would be up for the fight. So when you don't give 100%, as we've seen with a lot of teams, a lot of big teams that we mentioned and talked about this season, teams are there to beat you. The guys are professional as well. They have a lot of pride as well. So yeah, but nothing for them to worry about though. In the overall,
of course not. The last cut their lead at the top of the Bundesliga too. A nail biting 8 points. Dortmund took care of business, defeating Union Berlin 3-0. Hoffenheim and Stuttgart round up the top 4 on 36 points apiece down there in third and fourth, respectively. Moving on from the Bundesliga in Germany and taking a trip to League One. We spoke last week and perhaps we jinxed them. Jinxed it, man. Lens have finally been defeated, and in convincing fashion too. Third place Marseille swatted them away, 3-1. Arsenal loanee Ethan Nwaneri scoring on his debut for Marseille. That makes him the 19th scorer for Marseille this season in all competitions.
These all be ball.
Joint highest tally amongst teams in the top 5 leagues with Chelsea, Frankfurt, and PSG. We jinxed it, man. We jinxed it. It's our fault. It's our fault. GSCP gotta take the blame.
Sorry.
Yeah.
As a result of that defeat, Paris have now overtaken them and are back on top of League One. Some would say in their rightful position. They won 0-1 away to Auxerre with a goal from none other than Bradley Barcola. We called it earlier this week. We had a conversation about that. Paris are sitting at the top, 2 points ahead of Lens. They're on 45. Lens is in 43. Marseille, who did a bit of PSG's bidding, are sitting down there in third on 38, followed by Olympic Lyon in 4th on 36 points. PSG smiling.
Shout out to Hendrick. Ever since he's made the move over to Lyon, he's been nothing but great signing for them, a loan signing for them. Hopefully he comes back rejuvenated next season. The white shirt. Love that celebration. Love the goals. Expecting more.
Yeah. You know, sometimes in the rivalries and in the banter, you know, maybe you don't give a player
Here now.
what's due to them
Here now.
while they were while they were in the shirt of your biggest rival. It's hard. That you have to understand. Forgive me, please. You understand? You have to understand. You have to. You wearing a Madrid shirt. I can't be
Again,
looking at him like that and thing. But I knew there was talent there. I was a big enough man for admit it, but boy, no. And it's to be fair, all them game the man no game.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
Let me see how he could play in the first place. All them game the man no game.
Higher.
Game the man game.
Hire Xabi Alonso again. Sack him again. Just to sack him again for how he treated Hendrick, bro. Because ain't no way you could tell me we had a talent like that and couldn't find a way to utilize
Maybe he has
it.
something against Brazilian.
I don't understand, bro. I don't understand.
He and Rodrigo ain't look like they
Ain't no way.
good. Because Rodrigo, they stand up there with Mbappe when Mbappe say,
You know,
God for them, the boy come. I'm to you.
But the loan is probably the best thing for all parties involved. And
Good to hear.
Hendrick will get a lot of minutes. Hopefully he gets called up to Brazil's team as well.
No, and it didn't go so well. It reminds me of our experiments with young Brazilians, no Malcolm, Vitor Roque. Oh man. You gotta love football. You got to love it. And one of the reasons why we love football is this competition right here. This competition is so special. And the new format, I'll hold my hands up yet again and say, absolute cinema. Absolute cinema, dog.
You loving it, huh?
I loving it. No, well, no, not for that. I ain't really focusing on that. I was actually looking at other games and so on. I mean, 18 matches, all kicking off
Yeah, same.
at the same time. If you're a betting man, you're smiling. You understand?
Not necessarily.
Well, depending on how it went for you.
Yeah.
But, you know, simultaneously, I might,
Yeah.
you know,
Goal shot,
laptop,
yeah.
TV, phone,
Go last show.
still checking on the apps them, or I check Twitter, I check in the group chat. It just
Yeah.
felt like a spectacle. You understand? It felt
It gave
as big.
last day of the season kind of feeling.
You know?
All games.
It
at the
gave-
same time.
Not gonna lie, I mean, y'all would know more about this than me. But it gave kind of Champions League final vibes because everybody, you know, looking at the results matter a lot more now. I know we had the group stage and every game matters, but it just to see how things were shifting as the games progressed. A goal over here meant that this team would drop out of this position and this one would go ahead. Then you had a goal somewhere else that completely changed that result and made it so
Yeah,
that team
yeah.
that just scored needs to score again.
Yeah.
And
The
it
other,
was great, man.
the other side to it, though, and not to suck the fun out of this excitement over the new format, right? There is less jeopardy, basically, right?
For the
So
bigger
while, yeah, for the bigger teams especially. So while the goals that were flying in one after the other might have affected a team finishing in 5th to might drop down to 10th, 11th, they never were in jeopardy of actually falling out of the competition or dropping to the Europa League, as would have been the case in the
In the
old
old
format, right?
Where if you lose
Where you lose too
many
many
games.
games, you're out. You're out, and it are teams that qualify with less than 11 points, whereas 11 points last year was not enough to get you in the top 24. So I guess this is just the second season of it too. So it needs to soak in more for it to drown out the pros and cons of the old format. And maybe because I love it. I love it too. But I still have my drawbacks. Maybe you still have this nostalgia thing about us that we always want things to be as it was before. Maybe I should look at embracing it. But I'm just being devil's advocate.
No, that's fair. I understand the point in terms of there's not a lot of jeopardy for the larger teams. But I would counter that by saying in this new format, perhaps it's a representation of what a points tally looks like when teams are playing other teams more frequently. Case in point, in the old format, I felt a lot like the luck of the draw really dictated a lot of things to the bigger teams. I mean, you get put in a favorable group and you're playing those teams twice. If you play a team before, you've already figured them out, you can come back and, there's that, even if they beat you the first time, there's that sense of revenge and so on. I think with this, the fact that you're playing these teams one off and you are getting to face more of the opponents across, it gives you a better idea of where your team actually is compared to the rest of Europe, how you're performing and how you're progressing. I understand not being jeopardized for poor performances, but I still think that, like, for example, 11 points getting people in, perhaps that's just a representation of where the standard of the competition is this year rather than, okay, you're getting away with playing poorly. Perhaps in our estimation of the old format, we're looking for teams, winning 6 out of 6 games, something that Arsenal is definitely doing when we have 8 games now. But I just like the fact that we're seeing more games, more matchups at the earlier stages of the competition. Perhaps if they could look at ways in which, but I'm not sure a big change would come for years. But like we said, pros and cons for the new format for sure.
I think it has a bit too many teams, and it's kind of hard to say that when the likes of because a Bodo Glint, have done what they did in the league phase. Because I was about to say, there are too much teams and too many teams and too many weak teams that aren't up to basically 3 points, like a Kairat or a Paphos. To the elites or even to the Dortmunds. I don't think those games are competitive enough. I may be wrong. I could be wrong, but yeah, I think like maybe if I could lessen the teams a little, it might
Just
be
a bit
more
competitive.
Also, you mentioned that with this format, you meet in teams one time and it gets to basically show how good you are in terms of that level, right? But it's not always an equal fight. For example, in out of our 8 games, we had Real Madrid, we had to face Liverpool, Man City, Juventus, Marseille. Right? For example, those were tough games. Whereas Barca, for example, toughest teams they faced on paper,
Chelsea,
Newcastle, and Olympiacos. Olympiacos is the only other team that Barca faced that finished in top 24 and along with Club Brugge, right? So it isn't always an equal measure because the draw facilitates who you're going to play. And look at it, you getting a somewhat easy draw on paper, despite you making a mockery of like the Club Brugge game or whatever. And we getting a harder draw. We have play Man City and Liverpool. Check, 2 of the best teams in the world. The hardest team you playing is Chelsea, with all due respect to Chelsea. So
losing that game still.
It isn't always fair. Arsenal face the likes of Inter, Bayern Munich, and they went 8 for 8. So it is not the same for everybody, and that's just a con. Yeah, it isn't fair for every team. But I guess it's based on ranking and seeding and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways that they get in, and we're gonna see a lot of that coming in again because, like we said, Champions League often depends on the draw. And again, we're gonna see a lot of the draw. We know the accusations on UEFA that they're trying to get certain fixtures to be played, and they like when certain teams play each other for the cinema or whatever it is. We want to go through some of these results. Forgive us, but we can't talk in depth about every single one of the 18 games. So we're gonna run through some results that we deem to be not as significant overall. Starting with Arsenal 3, Kairat Almaty 2.
Dead rubber game, Arsenal top of the
It
league.
was force versus last, literally. That's how those 2 teams started the game with. Arsenal was in force. I think Carrot was comfortable at the bottom of the table. I mean, credit to them for scoring their 2 goals. You know,
Yeah,
I'll-
okay.
I'll
Only
give it
thing,
to
only
them.
thing on this, I would say Arsenal have won 8 out of 8 games. First team to win all 8 games
In this format.
in this new format. Only Pep's Man City has a longer winning run in the Champions League with 10. So they are only 2 games away from breaking that winning record of 10 games. So credit to them.
Another cannon for the game. No disrespect to Carabao. Liverpool put in 6 of the very best past them.
Yeah, like we mentioned, they having better form in the cups and that kind of thing than in the league. So goals from everybody.
Celebrating.
Voice.
Everybody's smiling.
Like with 3 assists.
You know.
Even Salah, he was
Exactly.
back on the score sheet as well. So
Yeah.
Thing nice. Forgive us for talking more about the Premier League teams. There's some huge talking points for that in a bit. Manchester City 2, Galatasaray 0.
Yeah, straightforward victory for the boys. Breaking, I think, is our winless run about 5 games. So it was good to see Haaland as well breaking his streak of 10 or so games now without scoring a goal. So it was
from open play.
since December, I think. So it was good to see the boys in blue back to scoring ways and winning ways as well. Straightforward victory over Galatasaray.
Another Premier League team, another Premier League winning the Champions League. Frankfurt 0, Tottenham 2. Solanke with a nice one.
I just can't explain it.
Yeah, it's unbelievable the contrast in the Premier League form and the
Right?
Champions League form.
And
They literally have kept more clean sheets than any other team in the entire league phase and finished with more points than Man City, Real Madrid, Barcelona, and PSG. The team that is currently 14th in the Premier League, finished in the league phase above Madrid, Barca, PSG, and City.
Thomas Frank is like a icy hot kind of seat he have in there.
It's a double-edged sword. He's under pressure in the league, clearly, right? Because they're not consistent enough, but he's clearly doing something well in the cups. But that goes back as well to what I was mentioning
Saying with
about the
the-
opponents. They have not faced anybody. The toughest opponent they have faced is Borussia Dortmund, and they even dispatched Dortmund very comfortably. So they only defeated one team that finished in the top 24, bro. Spurs. And they came fourth. Check, so it kind of explains why they have 6 clean sheets, but it just goes to show the inconsistency of the new format.
I understand. I definitely understand. There are a lot of interesting results that we have to talk about. However, 2 interesting results, and we won't go so deep into exactly what took place into these games, but just interesting for different reasons. PSV looked like they were about to, give Bayern a bit of a run for their money. Bayern winning out in the end. Narrow victory, but very closely contested game. PSV 1, Bayern 2. I still think though Bayern is one of the strongest teams in the competition. They ended the group stage in second position. Definitely one of the strongest teams so far. Another game, however, that had a 2-1 scoreline. Perhaps you wouldn't have expected it. I don't know what's going on in La Liga in the UCL, boy. Right now, it's looking good. Atleti losing at home to Bodo Glimt.
And Atleti, who are so strong at home as well.
At the Metropolitano,
It's crazy. And they actually scored for us as well, another goal from Salat. But it's crazy.
1-0 Atleti scoring for us and can't win.
Crazy, bro. It's crazy. Crazy, but shout out to Bodo.
Yeah.
My apologies to Bodo. I remember last episode I told you Madrid losing to Albacete
Would be like we losing to Bodo.
would be similar to
Yeah.
City, but clearly
No, Bodo
ain't no joke.
Bodo have good quality. They beat Man City
No joke.
and Atletico back to back. Right, so
We'll talk about some of the quote-unquote hotter matches that we've been there on GSCP. I want to start with the 2 Premier League teams again. Are you surprised that I'm going to talk about another Premier League team and another victory in the Champions League? This one high profile though. Napoli being defeated by Chelsea 2-3. Napoli crashing all the way out of the Champions League. João Pedro with a rather inspired performance. Chelsea got that 3-2 comeback victory at the Diego Maradona Stadium. 2 goals from João Pedro, 2 great goals, second half goals, comeback goals. Blues have sealed their spot in the last 16. They have ended the Champions League phase in 6th, I believe.
6th.
Yes, they have ended the Champions League phase in 6th. Surprising that Napoli are out of the Champions League, or that's about their level this season.
The way, it's their level this season, the way that it has been going. Too many injuries. Not knowing where the goals are going to come from. Inconsistencies all over. To be honest, shining light is Scott McTominay. Rasmus Højlund.
That's a crazy sentence.
And
It's
right.
crazy, but he has really grown, matured, and
Definitely,
really put in
Scotty.
some big performances.
Scotty
for
put in a performance.
he himself said on the last game against Copenhagen when they drew that they need to find a way to score goals, and I think that's one of the main issues. Kevin De Bruyne is a big miss, and they just can't seem to find a striker to just find form. Funny enough, so Højlund is the same amount of goals as Saul. That's what we're saying. So just having a good season. We would have to say that Rasmus Højlund is doing pretty well too. But they need a bit more of that in order to challenge for the title still and
To get
in Serie A, as they are already out of the Champions League.
Yeah.
Much more of the same from Antonio Conte and his teams in Europe. I have a stat here on him that says he has taken part in 8 Champions League campaigns as a coach, 4 group stage exits, and only 2 knockout stage wins, and both were versus Celtic. So he's never even beaten a team of significance in the knockout stage of the UEFA Champions League. His record in the Champions League as a coach is 17 wins, 17 losses, and 16 draws.
Wow.
So not a great record for someone who is such a great coach, very experienced, won the league in multiple different countries. So
I guess we could say perfectly balanced.
perfectly balanced in terms of win-loss draw in the Champions League, but that's not a great record for someone of his quality, right? And further on that, they are the reigning champions of Serie A and were eliminated before even getting to the top 24, as in they couldn't even get to the top 24, and they are the champions of Italy. So what does that say about what does that say about Conte, one, and what does that say about the quality of the Italian league and how far it is falling behind? So and on Chelsea, Rosinia, another win, looking good, another goal for Enzo Fernandez. João Pedro back to farm. Cole Palmer came off the bench and got 2 assists as well. So things looking on the up for Chelsea. They have a game against Arsenal coming up that's going to be very interesting. The second leg of the cup, based on the farm. So we'll see.
The only Premier League team that didn't collect 3 points in the final match day of the Champions League group stage was Newcastle. And funny enough, this is one of the games that I had one eye on from earlier, and literally one eye on the day. And the reason why I had my eye on this game is because we entered the match day in 9th, and PSG and Newcastle was 7th and 8th respectively. We spoke about all those teams on 13 points and so on. I wasn't studying the other teams. My whole scene was PSG and Newcastle playing one another. Both of them they on 13 points with me. 2 of them can't get 3 points from the game. So one of them dropping out of where they are, presumably, if they don't win. So all I was praying was for my team collect 3 points. However, we did it. because I knew 3 points, regardless of the goal difference and all, so would have probably been enough to get it, considering some of the other teams around us had tough games and tougher games than we had,
Correct.
at least. Defending champions PSG and Newcastle clashed, as we said, going into the match the 7th and 8th. And as a result of them drawing 1 goal apiece, they both slipped into the Champions League playoff after that draw at the Parc des Princes, meaning the reward for drawing that game is you both get to play 2 extra games. And I'm sure both teams would be saying, boy, there was an opportunity here to avoid that situation. They couldn't be separated basically, and they have finished next to each other again, 11th and 12th, respectively. Vitinha's only goal was cancelled out by Joe Willock's late strike in the first half, meaning that the pair will now go on to face either Monaco or Karabakh next month in February in the playoff round. On to another fixture. Barcelona, 4 goals. Copenhagen 1. Scoreline flatters us. Definitely. Nah, it was a good second half performance. Just like the game against Real Oviedo, a game of 2 halves. But again, like I said, we don't start games well, and that doesn't bode well for the later stages of the Champions League when putting yourself under pressure 4 minutes into the game is not the best way to get the results that you are looking for. But we we came from behind to secure our spot in the Champions League last 16. 4 goals in the second half was enough to beat Copenhagen. Robert Lewandowski being fed by Lamine Yamal. Lamine Yamal with a deflected effort himself. Rafinha being gifted
And
a penalty from
actually
that
his
was one.
first Champions
That's
League
his first Champions League
goal
goal
of the season.
of the season. And Marcus Rashford, of all people, doing what I believe no Barcelona player has the ability to do recently, but he's proven me wrong. He scored a free kick. It's crazy who scored our last free kick, by the way.
Leo Messi
Nah, Lewandowski. But
in the Champions League.
no, just generally.
Oh, okay. Because I'm sure I saw a stat that said that's the first free kick goals
No, I wouldn't doubt that. That's the
Since-
first free kick that we've scored in the
Champions
Champions League since Leo Messi.
since Messi.
Against Liverpool.
Yeah, well, that would have to be the last.
That's crazy.
The last time. Wow, I still remember that.
That's
one.
before 2020.
Yeah,
That's like
before.
2018.
So that was enough for Hansi Flick's side to finish 5th in the league phase. I think we were helped a lot more in the previous match day by the results in and around us, and that's what enabled us to be in night and taking advantage of that to get into the last 16 directly. Dortmund and Inter sounding like a Champions League final from from some point in history. Not sure, just 2 historic clubs.
Yeah.
Dortmund losing to Inter 0-2. Federico Di Marco and Di Diouf were on target. 2 second half goals allowed Inter to defeat Borussia Dortmund. But, however, it was not enough for the Nizuri to head straight into the Champions League. Last 16, they finished in 10th. As a result, they will be headed to the playoffs. It was a dire first half in Dortmund, but Di Marco scored a wonderful free kick with about 10 minutes remaining. That goal actually had Inter into the top 8, but they have netted his late second. Inter slipped back down into 10, so they are going to now face either Bodo Glimt or Benfica. And we'll talk about that game immediately.
Just another thing about Bodo. What is the first Norwegian club for make it past the league phase since 1996, 1997?
That's crazy.
Rosenborg.
Rosenborg.
I ain't heard about Rosenborg in years, bro.
I think Rosenborg for FIFA. That's the only place I know Rosenborg.
So that's this crazy giant killer stuff that they were on.
It's Bodo Glimt.
Shout out to Bodo.
Big up Bodo. No joke. Benfica, Real Madrid. Benfica 4, Real Madrid 2. Real Madrid starting the match there in the top 8, but in the end missing out on automatic qualification for the last 16. I I want to talk about it, but I don't want to jump straight into it. But I guess we probably should. What the hell was that last kick of the game, bro? Like, what's that? Right? I don't think I ever seen that like that before.
I don't know what you can really say about it, honestly speaking. I mean, we've been that this just sums up how bad we've been on set pieces, really and truly. That a keeper could come in the last kick of the game. Let's go ahead.
Keep in mind at that point of the game, we were already down to 9 men due to Asensio and Rodrigo being sent off. And when the free kick was about to be taken, we still had 2 players upfield. We still had Rodrigo, we still had Vinicius and Mbappe upfield waiting for a corner. So we're down to 9 actually, and we still have 2 players who choosing not to be part of the defensive, the last defensive play.
So you really have 6 outfield players.
You really have 6 outfield players defending everybody for Benfica, including their keeper. Right? Very smart strategy, I must say.
Goalkeeper, Anatoly Trubin, stoppage time, last effort of the game, miraculously actually kept them in the competition. Jose Mourinho, the special one, came with a plan as he usually does, came back to haunt his former club. This was a European classic, ladies and gentlemen. This was a Champions League classic, to be honest. And I heard some commentators speaking about the fact that they could already hear the interviews of Jose Mourinho couple games from now when he's going to remind people. Remember? But I did. It was crazy, man. Benfica clinched the final position available, the very last spot, number 24, available in the playoff round in the most dramatic of fashions. They needed a goal, even at 3-2, where they would have won the game versus Madrid. In terms of the run of the game, they still needed another goal to overtake Marseille on goal difference. I believe Marseille was at 9 points, just like Benfica, and the goal difference was also the same. It was -3 for both teams, and I think Marseille would have been ahead of them. Is it because of head-to-head? Right. So Marseille would have gone through and
goal scored.
Whatever metric they use, Marseille was ahead in the ranking, even though they were on the same points and the same goal difference. It's so crazy that at the stadium where Marseille played away, right?
Marseille played away to Club Brugge.
Right. So at Club Brugge's stadium, on the big screen at the ending of that game at full time, they actually had up congratulations for qualification in French, congratulating Marseille for qualifying, because at that time, based on the information they had available, Marseille would basically be still at the top. Benfica hadn't even gone up for the corner yet, so they didn't get no information from that game. So they were literally congratulating them. That's how late this goal was. You understand? And diving header, last kick of the game, send the stadium into a frenzy. Madrid, 9 men had to go to these playoffs. And it wasn't really because of that result that really particularly sent Madrid to the playoffs. And it's not the fact that Benfica were beating Madrid, because even at 3-2, Benfica would still be out and Madrid would still be true. It was actually Sporting's winner against Athletic Club, and all you have to blame me. I could tell you, no lie. I watching the table. I hate watching a little bit. Remember our game done a little. I watching the table and I watching the other games. And I see who they below y'all, and I see the points, and I think I see 14 and 14, and hear me. Sporting, can you do something for me? So Sporting goal against Athletic Club. And it's the worst type of poetry, because this is the point I want to move on to. Sporting late win against Athletic Club. Athletic Club right now, still one of the highly or higher rated La Liga teams, just participated in the Super Cup after finishing within the top 4 last season. But the performance from the La Liga teams, Barcelona is the only La Liga team to make it directly into the playoffs. Atleti and directly into the round of 16. Atleti and Madrid are into the playoffs, so still in the competition. But the likes of Athletic Bilbao finishing
29.
29th. The likes of Villarreal finishing all the way down in
35th.
So my point to the weak team ain't even really stand because Villarreal fourth in La Liga, second to last in
and that's why I say no. Even if these teams that we look at might be unfamiliar to us in terms of the names and they don't have the pedigree of players that we're accustomed to and so on. These are people from our own league and look at the performance. Look where Villarreal is.
1 point, right?
1 point now.
Villarreal draw one game. That's it. That's their contribution to the UCL.
Yeah.
And I don't want to beat up on the yellow sub because, yes, that looks bad. But I still maintain that you don't want to play them on their best day.
Yeah.
Right? But 29 for Bilbao and Villarreal is who we just talk about if we're not talking about top 3 in Spain. Them is the kind of clubs we're going to call in. Because we can't call Sevilla right now because they're not on that level. Valencia not on that level. Sociedad, arguable.
Hit and miss.
Betis.
Hit and miss.
Outside that, and this is the performance of these teams that we are playing, so maybe we are the problem. Them is who we play in regular. And that is where the rest of Europe doing them. And then we watching them rest team like, boy, no, them and they soft and this and that, but are we soft? As a league?
The direction and the way things have been going in the past years, it goes back to why Florentino Perez and the likes originally had the Super League idea, because the funds are being so evenly distributed in the Premier League. The way the Premier League is run is a credit to them, and other leagues shouldn't be, they have to catch up. Other leagues have to catch up.
Yeah,
it's not the Premier League's fault. That's what I'm
it
trying to say. It's not the Premier League's fault that their league and their product is doing so well for them, both on and off the pitch. It's just up to the other leagues now to combat that and fight it. And that is what the Super League was supposed to be. Because if you look at the top 8, where we have 5 English teams, right?
Let's go through the top 8.
Yeah.
Arsenal in 4th, 24 points. 19 in terms of goal difference. A solid 8 out of 8. Right? And on track, as we said, to break Pep's record. Bayern, 2nd, 21 points. Liverpool, 3rd, 18 points. Tottenham, 4th, 17 points. Barcelona, 5th, 16 points. Chelsea, 6th, 16 points. 7th, Sporting, 16 points. And 8th, Man City, 16 points. So 5th to 8th, all on the same amount of points. Tottenham and Liverpool, 17, 18. Bayern and Arsenal, 21, 24. Arsenal, Liverpool, Tottenham, Chelsea, Man City. Basically, Premier League top 6.
I'd argue if you add Man United and Aston Villa to this league, they would also finish probably in the top 8 as well, based on their quality. And it just goes to show further the depth. And we spoke about how inconsistent the top of the Premier League is, and the fact that Arsenal don't really have a main contender because City inconsistent and Aston Villa not necessarily considered a rival for them. The fact that those teams are so consistent, and yet here they are. Yet here Spurs are in 4th, above the likes of Barca and Madrid and PSG, like I mentioned. How does that look, in terms of parity? Because it just looks like it's one team dominating, while they might not be winning the Champions League every year, a team from England. This is domination. This is you get money for this. You get money.
Yes, because
the higher you finish as well. And that continues to contribute and help to them dominating.
Because we cannot ignore that Newcastle, the only other English team in the competition, is in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And high in the playoffs too. They're 12th.
Yeah, they went to Paris and played.
So it means
against Paris.
So it means if we were to split this table in half in terms of the amount of teams, all competing Premier League clubs are comfortably in the top half.
Newcastle are gonna face Monaco or Carabao, so they're gonna be in the round of 16. Well,
right.
On a good day.
Let's go through the playoffs positions. chronologically, so this is 9 to 24th. Real Madrid, Inter, Paris, Newcastle, Juventus, Atleti, Atalanta, Leverkusen, Dortmund, Olympiacos, Club Brugge, Galatasaray, Monaco, Karabakh, Bodo Glimt, and Benfica. These teams are now headed to a playoff. The top 8 teams, Arsenal, Bayern Munich, Liverpool, Tottenham, Barcelona, Chelsea, Sporting, and Man City, are straight into the round of 16, but we still don't know who they are going to face in the knockout phases. We spoke about the draw earlier. The teams who are ranked 9 to 24th in the league phase are now going on to play a head-to-head in a 2-leg playoff games, home and away, to determine which of those 16 teams, which 8 will progress against the other 8 teams, and that is what will make up the round of 16. So the teams who have progressed in the top 8, those are the seeded teams. The teams who are competing for a spot from the playoffs are unseeded. Each playoff side already knows from their league position they will end up in 1 out of 2 parts, and we're going to explore some of those parts. They have a certain system for 11th and 12th versus 21st and 22nd, and so on and so forth, right? So exactly who plays who will be determined at the knockout playoff draw. This is after the playoffs have already been completed. However, we can still look at the permutations and see which teams might be playing which. Teams from the same national association can't play each other at this stage, so no El Clasico, my brethren, even though we're waiting on a UCL El Clasico for the longest while now. As can teams who face one another in the league phase. So even if you met up in the league phase at this stage, you can still face each other. It means that it looks as follows for the seeded parents versus the unseeded parents. You have Real Madrid or Inter in 9th and 10th versus Bodo Glimt or Benfica in 23rd and 24th. Then we have Paris or Newcastle in 11th and 12th versus Monaco or Karabakh in 21st and 22nd. On the other side, Juventus or Atleti 13th, 14th versus Club Brugge or Galatasaray 19th and 20th. And finally, Atalanta or Leverkusen, that is 15th or 16th, versus Borussia Dortmund or Olympiacos, that is 17th and 18th. So a nice little way of seeing how the draw might end up. The draw is on Friday, the 30th of January, that's tomorrow, and the games will be played over the midweeks of February, 17th to the 18th and 24th to the 25th. This is the playoff draw, not the draw for the round of 16. The playoff draw. So those are the stipulations. That's how it has ended up after a very, very exciting final match day in the Champions League, it has to be said. We have our feelings about the new format versus the old format. We're speaking a lot about this dominance that we're seeing for the Premier League teams over the other top 5 leagues in Europe. We're also concerned for our own, as Spanish football fans in general, concerned for La Liga, Villarreal only mustering a point. Athletic Bilbao not qualifying at all. Real Madrid and Atleti headed to the playoffs. Barcelona the only team in it, and we're defending champions. So we should be in and around, we're the champion of a top 5 league. You should be there, but we spoke about Napoli, champions of Serie A, but not being able to even make it to the playoffs. I mean, PSG, champions of France, champions of Europe,
Champions of everything.
and headed to the playoffs just as well.
Just as they did last year, to be fair.
Yeah, they did that last year, to be fair, and proceeded to knock out the team that placed first.
For precedent-wise,
Precedent's sake, not really an issue.
not much. And to be fair, I saw some permutations that if we had finished 8th and not 8th, like higher, we may have had tougher
Tougher
opponents.
matches, yeah.
Whereas we just lost to Benfica, but it's Benfica and Bodo Glimt are the possibilities before we head to the if we beat those teams to the round of 16. So
imagine if Bodo Glimt do the triple crown and walk with Madrid scalp.
Brother
over 2 legs.
Because that would mean we have it on camera and Techman go play it back and it ain't gonna be good, bro.
That'll be a crazy run.
Might have to liquidate.
Statsman hit me with something that you didn't hit me before.
Yeah,
I want to
check.
hear about my striker.
Yeah, sure. Robert Lewandowski has now scored versus 40 different UEFA Champions League teams. Something that only Lionel Messi had done before.
Big up yourself, old man.
Yep.
Emphasis on old.
Another start here. Martinelli has 6 UEFA Champions League goals this season. Only Thierry Henry has more in a single campaign for Arsenal, and that is 7. So he's only 1 goal away from being Arsenal's leading scorer in a single UEFA Champions League season. Chelsea have now reached to the last 16 more than any other English team, 18 times. And like we mentioned earlier about Arsenal, they won 8 out of 8, first team to ever do that. Mbappe, with his 13 goals in the league phase, takes him past CR7's 11 for the most in a group stage / league phase.
That's crazy.
Right? So he played two more. He plays two more games.
Asterix.
2 more games.
The man need for adjust them thing there.
You know, that was Jose Mourinho first win against me.
Yeah, but I wonder how many times he's played against Madrid in
5.
5,
6.
6 in official competition.
Yeah, 1 draw, 4
Maybe a
losses.
Bodo stack. Bodo Glint had 0 wins.
Crazy stuff. Bro.
0 wins headed into January 2026. Since then, they have beat Man City and Atletico Madrid to qualify for the playoffs of the Champions.
That's crazy stuff.
And your boy, we can leave that for when for when you announce him. All right, man. That's it in terms of our coverage of the UCL. Lots to talk about, but you got to love the beautiful game. Before we wrap things up, I know Dopy, as usual, our resident cricket pundit on the podcast, has some great things to bring to us. Dops Organ.
We're Premier if they're too great.
Not too great.
We're talking about West Indies, so.
Remember this time last week we were talking about series defeat against Afghanistan.
And here we are again.
You insist, so I aim to please,
2-0 down in the 3-match T20 series.
So if we 2-0 down and it's a 3-match series, that means we lose, right?
We already took the L.
Yeah. So we have lost.
I'm trying to remember the last series.
Oh God.
Honestly speaking, since
Check where we speak.
Statsman go.
Darren
Statsman go tell you.
took over, especially with all these series that we've had last year against Australia, India, New Zealand. We lost all of those. Then now against Afghanistan and South Africa.
Really doing that.
So it's really not a good look. It was a good look. If I'm looking at it, as in a positive light for Brandon King. I think it was a really good series for him. A few more scores of 40 and 50. It was a nice knock from him and Hitmaier. They had a partnership of about 60 odd in the first game, and they went on to score 126 today. So it was a nice little partnership. Kudos to Hitmaier. It's not my favorite person, but always good to see.
Yeah, real bad name for
Yeah, he's extremely talented. Let me hear Shab.
The last time we won a T20 series was in October of 2025 against Bangladesh. So it's 2 series ago. So we actually were on a...
I forgot that one. I'm being a bit too harsh, but 1 series out of the last.
Yeah, that's definitely the last one we won out of the last 6. Because we lost against Nepal, then Pakistan and Australia in that time.
Right.
So we've only beaten...
yeah, but scored 76 runs out of the final over, but between overs 12 and 16, we only scored 27. So you could say we lost the series in that phase because the total we put up was a really good total. It was a competitive total.
Who was the bowling attack during that phase? Or who were facing that phase?
I think it was Maharaj. Maharaj took
Spin?
Yes, spin. He took I think 2 wickets in his.
Talking about today's game?
In today's game, yes. 2 wickets in the 15th over, Ravin Powell, and then Hetmeyer. And then I think we scored 12 runs in 18 balls. So yeah, I think that it was in that period of time where the game kind of got away from us, and then Quinton Leacock and Rickleton, who came in the second inning, so South Africa just demolished the bowling. Quinton Leacock, it was his first game since March 2023. That game in March 2023 was his penultimate home game, and he scored 100 runs off of 43 balls against who? West Indies in a record-breaking 259 run chase. So it's more of
I
this.
think it's at the same ground too, no?
At the same ground.
It's at the same ground.
Yeah, so the ground is conducive for
High scores and high chases.
and yeah, we really let the game get away from us in the middle phases of the batting innings, and then we dropped a catcher. I think we dropped Rickleton on 17, and something similar happened in the same game of the same bowler. I think Akil Hussain dropped Aiden Markram on 27 in the first game. Aiden Markram went on to hit a game-winning 80 something, and then in this game, Rickleton, which was the only real chance of getting a wicket, was dropped by Jaden Seals, and yeah, he powered through with Quinton de Cocker with 77, I think he hit off of 40 something balls, but yeah, 36 balls. So more of the same for West Indies, and as I say, it's just preparation for the
I want to ask. I was about to say
T20
again.
T20 World Cup.
Preparation.
Just
Looking
a week
better.
now, next
given
week.
that
Next week.
The last time we asked this question, it was before we started this series. So I'm going to ask, given that we're 2-3 down currently, any signs that
Any hope for the tournament, basically?
I was saying to
no, me don't like me top my mind. Innit? I love cricket, but me not sit down and watch West Indies.
No,
I'm not doing it to myself, bro.
There is
I'm
excitement.
not doing it.
There is excitement there. As I said, Ola Brandon King is a real promise. One of the more elegant batsmen we have, real textbook batsman. He could play the shots along the ground and so there is that, but I was saying I don't think the West Indies can actually put together a complete performance where the batters would then back up the bowlers if the bowlers have
Off day.
A good day. For instance, they bowl them down for 120.
Okay,
And then the batsmen
support,
would come in and just, knock that off easy.
So we have good performances in both stages.
Yes, complete performances. I think that's the area where we struggle to, even in the field, like fielders back up the bowlers, it just needs to be a holistic performance, cover all the bases in order to really compete for the World T20 Championship. Look at South Africa today. I mean, the bowling didn't do too well, but then the batting came in and just with ease, 15 balls left to score 225 runs. It was.
I don't think we stand much chance, to be honest, in the tournament. Even we want to be as optimistic as possible. I don't think it's possible. I saw the squad was announced as well, and it's lacking real, firepower in the bowling department, especially real strike bowlers where you could expect wickets from them in the power play or before the power play. Because we know in T20 the aim is not always to take 10 wickets, but mostly to keep down the economy rate and the strike rate. And the bowlers that we have, I don't think, especially in the conditions in India, would be able to take us to glory.
I remember when we were making the little preview last week, we said that we won the last competition in India, but if memory serves me correct, we had Samuel Badri and I think Sunil Narayan. I could be wrong with the Sunil Narayan part, but if we had those two spinners in tandem, then that was
those guys would take time. Yeah, they would take timely wickets. They would take timely wickets.
And I think at that point, Samuel Badri was probably leading the top T20 bowler at the time. So Akil Hussain is basically that for us now, but I still think that there needs to be a partner.
Moti is in the squad as well, so
Moti is in the squad. He's known to be a very good limited overs bowler. He was a part of the South Africa T20 competition that just ended as well as well as Rutherford who won the competition. But yes, Moti should be experienced enough to partner Akil Hussein and take wickets. But e- economically, I'm not too sure how I feel about it.
Okay, so aside from West Indies, who you think? I'll tell you who I think after. Who you think is like main contender? Who you would pick as a favorite if you were to bet your stake dollars, for example?
I bet the guys down under
Australia.
Australia. I mean, how can I not? I mean, apart from India, who are playing at home, and you can never bet against them. Australia have shown us time and time again that they are just
Winning mentality. I agree.
the best cricket team in all formats, and whenever there's a competition to win, Australia is always there, and from top to bottom again. Mitchell Stark. I mean, I'm not too sure if he would be around, but Zampa, and these guys are loaded. These guys are loaded. So Australia is one I would bet my money on.
For sure. Yeah, anything else on cricket? I have something before you.
No,
Yeah, before we go, I just want to shout out the West Indies under 19 team who were defeated by Australia in the Super 6 stage, which ended their semi-final hopes. But credit to them nonetheless for their performance in the tournament, especially the young man who we mentioned,
Zachary Carter
and Vitel Lars. So a good performance from them, and hopefully we see some of them integrated into the senior team later down in their careers. Yeah.
Election was
So even in that game, I know Zachary blasted the bowlers for about 60 for about 40 or 50 balls. So hopefully we could see him sooner rather than later in
within
set.
Well, speaking of excellent performances, we want to recognize some excellence from the latest happenings in and around the world of sport before we jump out from this episode. Action packed, we got lots of things going on right now. We've talked about lots of things. Top 5 leagues, UCL, a bit of cricket action. We're preparing for the T20 World Cup. We know that NBA got a lot of different things going on, but probably won't get into too much of that today. We got some trade talk and some things to bring you pretty soon probably in our next episode for sure. Man of the match, dog. Dopy give me a man of the match. Shabba give me a man of the match. I'll give you my man of the match and we'll jump out.
All right, so 10 sixes, 6 fours. He was crazy about it. Remember I said 10 sixes, 8 dot balls.
8 dot balls.
8 dot balls. In 115 runs from off of 49 balls. QDK is my man of the match. Quinton de Kock, in his 100th inning, 320 inning, fourth game back at home. He demolished West Indies yet again, 115 off of 49. QDK, Quinton de Kock.
Legend, one of the greatest T20.
Now he's a bad, just unfortunately named.
Yeah. My man of the match is Anatoly Trubin. Became only the 5th goalkeeper to score in a UCL match in the history of the competition. Also, the 4th keeper to score against Real Madrid. We all know about the celebrations and what it meant for Benfica, what it did for them, sending them into the playoff stage where they will face either Real Madrid or Inter. So shout out to Trubin. Shout out to Jose Mourinho. Always have time for him.
Always got a plan. My man of the match is a woman of the match. I have got to big up on the podcast Coco Gauff. Despite losing her quarterfinal to Elena Svitolina, let me get that pronunciation right, Svitolina. She lost, comfortably to it was 6-1, 6-2. Didn't win a lot of points, it has to be said. And the match was over in under an hour. It wasn't a good performance from Coco. You have to say it was a frustrating performance from her. You can tell, you saw the conversations between her and her teammate. She looked uncomfortable. She just didn't look to be in the right frame of mind, wasn't seeming to be in the zone. Of course, we know it was a huge opportunity for both players. I mean, this is the Australian Open. It's a Grand Slam. It's a huge opportunity. But it's actually the first time for either player to make it to the semi-finals. So this was a huge chance for a semi-final both for Coco, and she just missed out. It actually puts the record. They have a bit of a rivalry brewing between them, you might say. It's 2 wins, 2 losses apiece for both of them in their fixtures against each other. And interestingly, the last time Svitolina beat her was in the Australian Open as well. Coco has beaten her on US soil, of course. But the reason why Coco is my woman of the match today is because obviously the way the game played out and so on wasn't what she would have liked. We know she's a rising star in the world of tennis right now. I just flashes of what Serena went through to see cameras following Coco all the way. And I mean all the way in the back. And eventually, she smashed the racket, and all of a sudden, that's what's on the headlines. Come on. Come on. I don't need to say it. Come on. She is allowed to have emotions, and I think in sport in particular, we need to understand where people are coming from a lot of the times. Sport is an escape for people. There's many emotional layers to sport and how a particular performance might affect somebody mentally and so forth. I don't think a moment where she's doing something that we've seen all levels of tennis players do. Male, female, doubles, grand slam, small slam, in the middle slam. We see man mash up racket before. We see woman mash up racket before. But the fact that she wasn't doing it out on the court, in front of the crowd, the fans, young and old, the cameras and sound, she was doing that on her way back. She wasn't around anyone. You could tell it was just emotions and frustrations building over. For us to take that and run with it, we could find something else to talk about, in terms of global sports. So, Coco, you are my woman of the match. Hang in there, girl. You're going to be a superstar. You're already a superstar. But, just keep it rolling. I know this is just going to be one of the things that you have to overcome, and we look to see you coming back stronger in the next set of competition. So, big up yourself, Coco Golf. And with that, we are at the end of a packed episode of Global Sports from a Caribbean perspective. This has been a great show. It's been a great week for sports, and we're really excited for what's to come. I mean, we're going into February now, later stages for top 5 European leagues, later stages for the Champions Leagues. You got a lot of trades, a lot of rumors flying around the NBA right now. We got action taking place in the tennis world with the Grand Slams. We got the T20 World Cup coming up. And of course, speaking of World Cups, remember it's 2026. This is a World Cup year. I mean, come what may.
Cricket and football.
We have cricket and football World Cups this year. So lots of things going on. And as usual, Prime
Shabba.
Dubs.
will be here to bring you the best teams, the best players, the best takes from the best leagues and the best sports. All right here from a Caribbean perspective. This has been another episode of GSPP. Thank you for listening, for watching. Remember, like, comment, share, subscribe, and let's get this community growing. Let's get this thing moving. One GSCP. Global. That's me.